So I'm going to talk about quadratic factoring, which is in Unit 19, and there's only one section that we're going to do in Unit 19, and that's about the quadratic formula. We're going to need this to do some quadratic factoring in Unit 16. So we're starting off with the quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, and if it's an equation, you'll have it set equal to 0. If you want to solve and find either roots, zeros, solutions, or x-intercepts for that equation, you'll use the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and that's all over 2a. Now, sometimes if you want to remember this, there's a sing-songy little pattern that's kind of like Pop Goes the Weasel. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so we're going to use that to solve and find the roots of the equation, as well as, this is what we need for section 16, or unit 16, these factors. We're going to be doing some quadratic factoring. When you have a number here as an a, and the a value is not 1, it's really hard to guess and check and come up with these factors. But if you use the quadratic formula and you find these roots, then you can take the roots and convert them into factors. And that's what we're going to do here. So we've got a is 6, b is 13, and c is negative 15. And don't forget to pick up the positive or negative sign along with all of your a, b, and c values that you list down here. Now we're going to use these in the quadratic formula. So 2 times a is 2 times 6, which is why I have a 12 down here. We're taking the opposite of b, so I had it positive here, and now it's negative 13. When you do b squared, that's always, this number right here is always positive. And then I substituted in the rest of the numbers, and I combined these and took the square root. That's where I got the 23. First, I'm going to go over the top, so negative 3 plus 23, that's what I have here, over 12, and I simplified it to get 5/6, and then I did negative 3, and used the bottom, negative 23, negative 13 minus 23 over 12, and that's the one I simplified here and got a negative 3. So these are the two roots, 5/6 and negative 3. And then to make them into factors, let's look at this single number first right here, this integer number. I've got negative 3, and I'm going to do x minus the root. So minus a negative would be plus, so I'll have x plus 3. So basically this is going to give me the opposite sign in my factor. And then here, if I just look at the top number's 5, so I'm going to get down here an x minus 5 using that opposite sign. And then the top was 5, so that's what I used for here. And then the 6 that's in the bottom in the denominator is going to come and be right out here in front, so that when I would FOIL these out, I would get back to this. So that's how you use this to do some quadratic factoring. The only thing to watch out for is remember to always look for a common factor in all three terms. Look for that first. You'll have to factor that out first, and then you can use the quadratic factoring technique. So let's take a look at one of those to see what I mean. We want to find the roots and the factors, and we're given 10x squared minus 35x minus 245. First I'm going to factor out the 5. So I've got 5 times this quadratic expression. Don't lose this 5. We'll need it later. See where that 5 is coming in as the factor down here, as one of the factors. I'm going to do the quadratic formula again, just like we did. And see here, I've got a negative 7, so I'll get a positive 7 there. So I simplified these and got these two numbers. I have a 7. That's going to be the x minus 7 here. So I'm taking that opposite sign in my quantity. And here, I'm using the negative 7, which gives me an x plus 7, and the 2 that's on the bottom comes out in front. And there's my factoring. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.